their extreme MAGA Republicans gathered to unveil their latest bill to criminalize women's health in all 50 states. The bill calls for a penalty of 5 years in federal prison for doctors performing abortions. This is a democracy issue, it's a freedom issue, but it's also a kitchen table issue for America's working families. It comes right to the heart of decision making.
New data was released that shows that the majority of Americans are experiencing financial hardships due to inflation. Lawmakers have agreed to provide some financial assistance to low-income households, including families and senior citizens. Up to $1,200 can be claimed right now. And also, here is some good news. Extra financial help is coming from most Hawaiian taxpayers. Eligible taxpayers will start getting tax rebate checks from Hawaii of up to $300 over the next several weeks. The latest stimulus check is actually a constitutionally mandated tax rebate created by an increase in estate tax revenue. This week, the Hawaii governor announced that eligible taxpayers would start receiving estate tax refunds next week. The governor noted that the refund would either arrive by direct deposit or a paper check in the mail. The governor said, "It is my hope that the $300 million in tax refunds being distributed so far brings some relief to the hardworking people of the state of Hawaii, who are hit hard by this crisis." The first round of direct deposits will start getting into bank accounts on or around Monday and will continue over the next 2 weeks, despite the paper checks taking longer than expected due to supply chain issues. According to the taxation department, the state currently has 50,000 checks in stock and will be issuing a paper check in batches of 2,000 until a new shipment arrives. The department expects that all paper checks are going to be issued by the end of October. The law requires Hawaii to send money back to taxpayers or put the money into a rainy day fund if it carries over a balance over the past 2 years is more than 5%. Lawmakers did both during this year's legislative session. They approved a tax rebate as well as added $500 million to the state rainy day fund, so a family of 4 could get up to $1,200 in a tax refund, and those earning more than the above income threshold will get $100 per person. So a family of 4 can get up to $1,200 in a tax refund. Those earning more than the above income threshold will get $100 per person, everybody. Taxpayers need to be a resident of Hawaii for at least 9 months and have filed individual income tax returns for 2021 by July 31st to qualify for the rebate. During a recent press conference, Jerome Powell, the Fed Reserve Chair, warned that cooling inflation would bring some pain to Americans through layoffs, weaker pay growth, and higher borrowing costs. Powell also said that while the effects are unfortunate, a failure to show and slow price growth and normalize the economy would mean far greater pain. The central bank has been raising interest rates at the fastest pace since the 1980s in an attempt to ease Americans' demand and slow inflation.
In the family. Again, this is as they criminalize women's freedom to make their own choices. We have passed legislation to support freedom for women. When we passed the legislation to enshrine Roe v. Wade into law, not one Republican voted for that. Okay, well, let's see what they do about contraception. 9 Republicans voted to give women the right to contraception. 9. That means over 200 of them do not support a woman's right to contraception. And again, in terms of women being able to travel, to exercise their health freedom, 3 Republicans said that Americans should be able to cross state lines for health reasons. 3 Republicans. So that's what we're dealing with here. But again, the contrast is great when we talk about women's health. We said criminalize abortion, don't allow women to have health care or travel, contraception or travel for the health care. At the same time, we have a different agenda. And again, Social Security. Over the break, we had a number of days of action. One of them was to observe the 87th birthday of Social Security. It was fabulous. It was a drumbeat across America. We had these across the country. 87th birthday. It was an organizing tool as well because people really support Social Security and are concerned about what the Republicans, including the chair of their Senate campaign committee, has said about reviewing whether this Social Security should exist in 5 years. Again, while we're protecting health care and financial security for seniors, the Republicans are undermining that. They never did support Social Security or Medicare, Medicaid. And in fact, when we won the House in 2006, it was largely thank you to President Bush wanting to privatize Social Security. And here they go again. Again, attacking our democracy, making it harder for people to vote. In that regard, one of the biggest suppressors of the vote is big, dark, special interest money in politics. This election gives us an opportunity. We can elect 2 more senators to pass legislation that diminishes the role of big, dark money by insisting on disclosure, which we've been trying to do since the hateful, anti-democratic Citizens United decision came down from an irresponsible court, to, again, trying to pass disclosure, which couldn't get 1 Republican vote in the Senate to do that. But again, part of this election has to be to rescue our democracy from big, dark, special interest money. And that will restore people's confidence that their vote and their voice is as important as anyone's. Our legislation does just that. It's passed the House a number of times. It actually had more than 50 votes in the Senate, but it did not have enough to remove the famous filibuster screen that is there. So when we celebrated the Inflation Reduction Act yesterday at the White House, each of us, whether it was Chuck Schumer or the president, or in my remarks, we all talked about how this fits under the president's agenda of fairness, of equity, of inclusiveness in our society, in our economy, in our prosperity. And it includes, of course, starting with the American Rescue Package, which rescued that, just indeed, America, our economy, our people from where they had been in the previous administration. The infrastructure law, bipartisan bill, putting millions to work, building America and delivering clean water and broadband, with a strong commitment to justice and fairness and equity in the legislation, involving many more people in our prosperity. The PACT Act, something we've all worked on for such a while. I salute Mark Takano, the chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, Raul Ruiz, who worked with him on this, for this legislation. It's remarkable. Nearly $250 billion will be spent to protect the health of our workers, and I'd love to go into it, our veterans, go into it more if you ask. And then the bipartisan Safer Communities Gun Violence